Hello, everybody, and welcome to another show. Another Paris Set Me Free. It's not Paris Set Me Free. It is the Creative Smartphone Photography Show with me, Sab in Paris. Hello. I might be mentioning something to do with Paris, but for now, let's look at general photographs on this week's theme, which was signs. And it wasn't 100% clear exactly what was meant by signs, which is okay because you could interpret it in your own way. At first, Jean recommended it. By the way, say hello in the comments if you're watching. Jean recommended it, and she had a kind of general idea for, words you can find as you walk around. I thought that might be a bit vague, so I said, well, can we make it more precise, like street signs, directions, numbers of miles and kilometers to places? She said, okay, why not? But then people just threw words at us, any words they found outside. So let's go for it. Let's see what you contributed. Again, say hello. Who's watching tonight? Who's watching? This is Sab from Paris. Who are you and where are you watching from? This is Nazanin. She's watching from not far from me. Hello, Nazanin. Hello, Kristen. Good to have you here. By the way, did you see, hang on, let me see if I can share my screen here. Where did I put this? Did you see that if you played a game with me where you guessed a sentence, I would send you something. I would send the winner something. And it's Kristen who was the winner. Well done, Kristen. You guessed the final sentence. But I thought, well done, everyone. Thank you for playing. I'll send you all something. And this is it. This is me sending you all, if you took part in the guessing game, something. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to change that. I can see Dorothy's address there. I'm going to have to change that. That shouldn't be there. Oops. Okay, I'll change that immediately. I get off this. Okay, so that is what's on the way to you guys. And the theme was signs. And my goodness, again, I thought maybe you wouldn't know what to contribute. Again, you contributed loads. Here's 3 to get you going, and it's me. Actually, I'll show you that one last. So I was looking through my Lake District signs, the Lake District in the north of England, the northwest of England, beautiful place where my parents live. And there are some lovely signs, and it's the countryside, so they're old signs, battered signs. Look at this one. It's on a stone with an arrow pointing the footpath this way. And there's another funny sign. It says hens through gates. And I'm not sure if that means if you're a cockerel or a rooster, you should go through the gate to get at the hens, or if you're a hen, that you should go through the gate. Up to you to decide. Here's another one. Let me make that a little bit bigger. What do you think? How are you, by the way? How are you doing? How are you doing this weekend? It's wet here in Paris. What about where you guys are? There you can see it in all its glory. Look at those lovely textures, lovely colors, lovely angles. And this is a kind of funny one. I had some fun with one of the signs. You're lucky because I'm not showing you the one where I was actually giving it a kiss. This is me, my shadow actually, pointing to a sign because it's pointing at me, which I thought was a bit rude, so I thought I would point back. So that's kind of fun as well. And the last one before we get going, I find this one almost impossible to look at. It's so bright. I did sabify it, I played around with it, but it's just a bit of fun. But having said that, this is an effect. I mean, I had the sun behind me. I positioned it in between me and the sign. Well, actually, I didn't actually position the sun. I positioned me and the sign so that the sun was in the gap. And what happens when you've got a very bright light coming at you with something blocking it partially? You get these amazing rays zooming out like this. Let me just show you that again if I can. So you've got something, and you've got the light, the sun coming from the side. When it hits the side, it splays out like this. You can do it with your head. You can have, if you've got the sun just behind you, you'll find the rays come out like this. And it can be pretty impressive. And then if you play with them afterwards, you know, increase the contrast and stuff like that, you can get some amazing effects. So that's what I was trying to do there. It's over the top, but it's kind of fun. All right, so who is saying hello? Let's have a look. We've got Alison. Hello, Alison, in sunny Wirral, or is it watery Wirral? If you're in wet Wirral, Alison, we're in wet Paris here at the moment. By the way, my little mug here is. What sort of mug are you wearing tonight, folks? I'm wearing this little this funny little guy here who actually does have a woolly hat. Hang on, let me get a woolly hat. Back in a second. Where is his woolly hat? Because when you live in a wet place, you know, you need to have woolly hats and things. So here's his woolly hat. There you go, which is kind of cute. And it says, I'm trying not to spill this over my computer. And here it says, and the crazy adventure begins. Doesn't he look like he's about to set off on a crazy adventure? And he's not alone in this world. He's got a girlfriend. And here's his girlfriend. And she is also ready for the wintry weather. And she's going on an adventure as well. Anyway, back to reality. Hello, Alison. Alison, Bear and I are going to the Lake District in about a month. So if you're up there at the end of May, we'll see you then. Dorothy's looking in from France. Hello, Dorothy. And Nazanin in Joinville. We are drowned in wisteria. Also beautiful purple flowers, lovely. And we've got Facebook user Sunny this evening. Who could that be? Could it be Chris? Could it be, I don't know. Tell me who you are, Facebook user. Don't be shy. All right, let's have a look at some more of your photographs. You know, I was thinking, what can I say about your photographs? Because if you take a picture of a sign, the danger is the words may be funny, they may not, but in itself, what is interesting about a picture of a sign? So one of my questions was, how do you make a picture of a sign interesting? Why even take a picture of a sign? Well, one reason might be, or should be, that it's a funny sign, or a strange sign, or an old battered sign. Like anything in photography, you can do a million things after you've taken the shot. You can, you know, sabify them, you can Dorothyfy them, you can Kristen fry them, you can do anything you like. But if you're starting with a boring photograph, it's going to be a boring photograph that's been processed. So you've still got to try and get the sign, choose a really interesting sign. And this goes for any subject. And then photograph it interestingly. So how can you photograph a sign interestingly? One way is to get in really close. Let's imagine, I gave an example. Is my first photograph that I posted last week. It was a gorgeous old sign. It was, the paint was all peeling and cracked, and it's funny because the top part of the sign pointed to a railway that hadn't even been there in use for about 40 years. You know, it was just so much character. I had another photo of a sign with a bird sitting on top. It sounds simple, but you know, most signs don't have a bird sitting on top. That made it different. That made it worth posting. So I'm still always and ever looking for the thing that makes the photograph worth even taking before you do anything else after. So got Jean here. Hello, Jean. Great to have you here. Jean, your little puzzle piece is heading on its way over to wherever you are in the States. Okay, let's have a look at some more photographs. So yeah, my challenge is to know what to actually say about these. So I'll try to find something. It may be very fast, you know, it just might be well done for spotting this nice photo, or I might look for some photographic, something worthwhile to say photographically. Okay, so this is angular. This, and also I want you to put a comment with each photograph, otherwise, you know, I don't have anything to react to. You know, I need a comment so that I know how you feel about the photograph. Otherwise, I can't really say anything, you see. So this sign is the largest square, and also part of it is getting to know you. So, for example, Angela says, this sign is in the largest square in the center of Thessaloniki in Greece, the Aristotelos Square. Okay, so this is where I'm going to have problems, you know, because it's a sign. What can I say about a sign? I like the angles of the building leading down to this. She's got this lovely heart in the left-hand side. In the middle of the heart is that a person? I'm not sure, but it would be nice if it was, wouldn't it? Okay, visit Thessaloniki. I think that's some subliminal advertising there, Angela. Not sure if we should allow that in the group, actually. Perhaps a heavenly sign. There you go. So this is Chris being a little bit abstract here, and that's fine. It's always fine. So that is pretty stunning, isn't it? Look at that. There's an example of the sun with its rays splaying out. Whenever you shoot into the sun, not whenever, but you'll often get these rays zooming down, and there's this magical spot where it's I don't know if it's reflecting or what in this bit of green gunk here, and it's pretty impressive. And it does look like a sign from the gods, doesn't it? Stunning. And there's no words, so that's Chris bucking the trend as usual. By the way, so we can have some interaction. When you see a photograph that you like, or you have a comment, you say why you like it. That's interesting. But I might have moved on from the photograph by the time I read your comment. So say whose photograph it is, or which one it is, and why you like it, and that'll be really helpful. Okay, so from Alison, Liverpool's St George's Hall. She's got a crazy angle here. This is a choice. This is a photographic choice. And she's gone for a wild angle. It's not the only angle, the one that she's introduced, because you've got these lights with angles on those lights. You've also got the angle of this thing crossing out the left-hand turn, so no left-hand turn. So there's a kind of an angly theme there, very strong diagonals. As soon as you take the diagonal this wild, you've moved it away from reality into a kind of into a sort of fantasy territory. So and by tilting it, you've created two triangles more or less, and in the top blue triangle she's got the sign, and in the bottom left triangle she's got the building. I don't know that. Don't know. I'll just make that bigger for a second. Don't know St George's Hall. I haven't really been to Liverpool much. Liverpool. Although I do know the Beatles personally. They've accompanied me on many evenings and days. This is from Jean. We've got an Amazon warehouse, she says, in an industrial park. We've got one. I've got one not far from me as well. Scary that they are in our neighborhood. I must admit that we get our Amazon orders sometimes the same day. Yeah. Why is it scary? This is actually quite a scary photograph. It looks like you've done something strange, like turned it infrared or something. Quite a spooky photograph. Some interesting processing going on there. Okay, what else have we got here? Let's zoom through a few more. Now, this is Kristen. She seems to have gone on an amazing tour of her town and got all of these sort of street graffiti, random sort of feel-good sayings. I don't know how you found them all, Kristen. Are these really in your town? It's amazing. Follow your heart. And I do like these little signs, you know, some like in Paris. Some of them are a bit cliched, but you know, if something's telling you to feel good or something, it's better than telling you to feel bad, isn't it? Nazanin, cross-country skiing resort in 𝘚𝘢𝘣'𝗴 somewhere with snow. Wow, Nazanin, that shows real commitment. You went to this place last week just to get this photograph with the signs. Well done. What does it say? The signs show that it's the entrance to a snowshoe track. Okay, you know, I've gone skiing. I went skiing when I was a kid, and never really went skiing afterwards. Now, looking at this photograph, I see something immediately. I see two things. One is that it's a little bit dark, and one is that it's a bit blue. And the reason for that, answers on a postcard. Interrupting this program with a note from Chris. From Jean. I like Chris's photo of what I originally thought as a sign from above. Yeah, I think that's great. You know, there's no real rules. Facebook user says, I walk a lot. Kristen, the feel-good signs are mostly in my town, but I've collected them from other places as they show themselves to me. Well, that's nice. That could be a collection, a good theme. Feel-good signs, or, you know, any sort of message signs, or whatever you want to call them, from walking around. That could be a good theme. And I'm always encouraging people to have themes. In other words, tell yourself, I'm going to take photographs of something regularly. And when you do that, it's amazing how you then start seeing examples of that. It could be red cars. You know, it could, for me, it's the Eiffel Tower. Well, the Eiffel Tower is always there. That's a recurring theme. But it could be, I decide this week to, no, not this week, to have something in your mind, which is something that you're going to build over the months and years. And it could be cool messages that you see as you walk around. And as soon as you put that in your mind, you'll start seeing them more often than you used to. And then you'll take photographs and you'll realize that you're getting a good collection. And a collection is not just a collection of any photographs, it's on a theme. And as soon as you've got a theme, that's a way of making your photographs hang together better. So good for you, Kristen. Two reasons why this photograph struck me, and not necessarily for the right reasons, but things which can be put right quite easily. Nazanin, Nazanin, are you listening? There's so much brightness in this shot that the camera's made it a bit darker than it really is. And that's because about 50% of it is blinding white snow. So what happens is the camera says, whoa, way too much light, because the camera always tries to expose to the average. Well, not always, but so there's so much bright sky and there's so much bright snow, it's turned the snow a kind of murky gray. Even if it looks vaguely white, it's not, it's gray. Because white is white, you know, and that's not white at all. So you could either up the exposure afterwards, or you could up the exposure before. You know, when you're taking a shot of lots of sky and lots of snow, say to yourself, I know this is going to be underexposed, so put the exposure up, open it up so that more light comes in. Having said that, snow, white expanses of snow, okay, so they're white, that's fair enough, but they very quickly will lose all detail whatsoever. Even like there's tracks in the snow. I can see her foot. Well, I can see the tracks in the snow here. Very quickly, if you increase the exposure, it'll just become one sort of blinding white plane. So you've got to watch out for that as well. Try to leave a bit of detail in the snow, otherwise, you know, you've lost. She could be walking on a cloud for all we know. The other thing is it's blue, and that's what, you know, especially reflected light off snow comes out very blue, a blue light. What I mean by that is, if you think of a sunset, when the sun goes down, it goes very orangey. Well, this is the opposite. It's very blue. So in post-processing, there's a setting in practically every program, and you can warm it up. In other words, you make it more orange. Simple as that. You might not want to take it to the point where it's orange, but you want to take it to the point where the white things are white and not blue. And then if you kept going, they turn orange. So move them back towards the middle. And that would be great. So good for those signs. What's next? Do we have any more comments? No! Give me another comment, folks. I like it when you're commenting. Maybe I should ask you a question. Favorite photograph so far and why? Great combination of... look, this is so cool. So it's more graffiti than a sign, isn't it? But then it's words that you find as you're walking around. This is just so cool. And she's posted another shot, which, hang on, let me make this bigger. I'm not sure if this is optimized for the maximum size of screen. Okay, we'll leave it there anyway. She's posted, Nazanin, you've posted another shot. Which one do you prefer, folks? This one or this one? Why does that fill the screen so nicely? So this one, number 1 or number 2? Well, apparently someone has tried to be thinking they're being clever. They've, I don't know, thug face, they've put some sort of pretending to put a mask on it. I don't think it works, you know, I don't think it's very clever, because the original artist has done something really well. They've turned this bush into this big mop of hair, which is great. I don't know why they say thug hair, not really sure about that. Maybe it's some reference to this guy, is it Marx or someone? But then the person who has tried, imagine they've added to it. I don't think they have. I don't think they've done anything which is better than the original. So there's a limit to, you know, what vandalizing somebody else's vandalism, if you want to call street art vandalism, is. Such a cool shot. That is wonderful, isn't it? You find something in nature and you play with it. Okay, Kristen, here's another one. Stop. Okay, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to carry on. There, picture taken last December in Balzac's house. Okay, in somewhere in France, and she's gone for rather magical, isn't it? It's almost a little bit like a fairyland. The sign is in very sweet writing, and the door is ajar. Well, more than ajar. And it's inviting. Well, actually, it says sortie, so it's inviting us out. I was going to say it's inviting us in, but it's actually seems to be inviting us out, and yet it looks like we would be going in to quite a magical place rather than out. Anyway. Okay, I've got Jean is saying, loving that thug hair shot, me too. Nazanin's saying number 2. Oh, you prefer the one that has been graffitied on top of the graffiti? Okay. Oh, I like the expression of the second one. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Anyway, it's great to see both of them, and thanks for showing us both of them, because it gave me something to talk about. This is from Jean. Another cutesy sign, she says. Another cutesy sign I discovered driving home from the dentist. I think we see things. I mean, that reminds me of an English sign. That could be, if you said that was in England, I'd believe you. For one thing, Surrey is a county in England. I don't know if you can hear the rain pouring outside. It's nice. We need rain. We're in a drought here. What about Barcelona? Have you seen Barcelona, Catalonia? I don't know how you say it. They are officially in their climate in Barcelona, I was reading, is now officially arid. You know, there's different definitions of different types of climate, you know, like rainforest, desert and stuff. Apparently the official climate in the northeast of Spain, Barcelona, Catalonia, is now semi-arid. We're talking nearly desert conditions. It's crazy. But of course, global warming doesn't exist. It's all in our imagination. What else have we got here? Hey Rob, a sign. Spider-Man was here. That's cool. I like it. This is it. Looking for funny little, you know. It's more than the sign. If you can manage more than the sign, something has been added, then that's great. Kristen, be the reason someone smiles today. That's sweet, isn't it? One for the collection. Dorothy has gone the extra mile here. These signs mean something to me. Now just check this out. You know, she has gone the extra mile, because signs, they mean, well, for a start, a sign is, you know, it's a functional bit of road furniture. It's not necessarily meant to, you know, be something that's going to make us start sobbing through the emotion released. But having said that, these are, for Dorothy, these signs mean something. These all mean something. They're probably all on roads she knows, places, maybe it reminds her of places she's heading for, and she's put them all together, and she's done it artistically. And I can see, you know, there's various, she's got like the angles up in the top right and left, the bottom left and bottom right have a kind of coherence. She's got diagonals here. There's a nice diagonal, the middle left, the bottom middle, and top right. this is almost like an arrow in itself, an arrowhead in itself, with the two signs surrounded in red together. You see, it's not random what she's done here. She's really tried hard, and in the middle it's a different type of sign. So I see that, Dorothy, and I really appreciate what you're going for. And she's even put a kind of a sandy color around all of them. So good for you, Dorothy. Nazanin, oh yeah, we had Nazanin. Jean says, glad you're finally getting rain. What's happening in your neck of the woods, Jean? I know the weather over there, it's near Chicago, isn't it? Is pretty crazy at the moment, or recently. Don't know if you're suffering drought, or it seems like California and the north of America it's a mixture of everything bad. Like if it's not tropical, well, it's not tornadoes, it's not enough rain and too hot and bushfires and Dorothy. Now here's one. On the face of this, she says, chasing interesting signs was less easy where I live. Yeah, and I was chatting about this, and given a fairly standard sign, she's done something nice with it. She's got someone passing. The sign is in the top left, pointing to the right. The space to the top right, like, let's head towards these palm trees. You've got the bike. So, she didn't just take the shot. She waited for someone to fill in the bottom of this. And then she's played with it. She's Dorified it and given it these sort of punchy, warm colors. And you can dream, can't you? You can dream about what it would be like to head towards the port and spend some time there. Alison says it's an extra layer with the moped traveling in the opposite direction to the sign. Yeah, why is he heading away when he should be going to the sea? Well, he's wearing sort of, anyway. Be a random act of kindness. That's another one for the collection from Kristen. Of maybe when you start realizing that there's a lot of these positive signs as you wander around, that might make you feel a bit more positive about crazy humanity. I don't know. It's kind of cute. It's actually in metal. This sort of, I'm just trying to work this out. This sort of writing where it's been hammered out of metal is something you see in Paris with the metro signs. If I show you something like this, this is my latest chapter, and the theme was, well, it wasn't a theme, but I put a bunch of red ones together. They've all got red in. And if you look at the writing on this, it's a very special type of writing because it's been cut out of metal. And if you look at, you don't notice it on the M and the E and the T. You can cut the letters out and you don't need to do anything strange. But on the R, there's this little blob in the middle of the R. So, I mean, if you want it to stay there, if it's not stuck to the background, how do you do that? Well, you have to have these tiny strips of metal somewhere holding it in place. That's what you can see there. And the same with the O. Obviously, the round bit in the middle of the O is just floating around. If it's metal, if it's cut out of metal. So one of the characteristics of this typeface, which is kind of Art Nouveau-ish, is these little strips of metal, which gives it a very characteristic feel. This is one of the, this will probably be in my top 10 Paris metro signs, by the way. It's such a lovely one. And here's another one. It's this one here, absolutely beautiful. I think I mentioned it last week. And you can see the same thing. You can see the A. If you look at the A here and the P, they've had to do something with the metal, which means not making the letters perfect letters. You see the A there. They've done this funny sort of jiggle with the saw here to allow the little bit, the A, to have a little bit of red in the whole of the A, but they still needed to attach that bit of metal to the rest. And the P is the same. And what else? The R as well, of course. So that's what we're seeing in this, I think. Like the E, for example, anyway, you know what I'm saying. But it's interesting to notice these, as you walk around. You might think, what makes text in metal characteristic? Well, it might be those little strips of metal which hold like the whole of the D, which is actually a piece of metal in place. Have you ever thought of that before? Do you find this interesting or incredibly boring? Fulfill your calling. Now, here's the thing. Jean is saying, crazy weather in our area right now. From some, I think you're near Chicago, aren't you, Jean? From summer, like temperatures cold with snow. Yeah, from summer temperatures to cold. I think you said it was really hot one day and it was snowing the next. We could use some rainstorms. And here's Kristen saying, I love the cutout letters because they show a glimpse of another world as we peer through them. See, this is something I didn't mention. Not only, I mean, it doesn't on the metro, you can't see that. You know, it's just got a, why do they cut them out? What was the point? Well, the point is to have a bright light behind them, so that this is a thin piece of white, transparent white stuff with a light behind, so it lights up at night and you can see the sign metro. In Kristen's case, of what we saw before, you actually get a glimpse of another world through it. You know, you can sneak through and you can see. So tell me what this means. You know, I have this kind of issue with feel-good signs, and especially not so much signs but memes that people post on social media. And I think I sometimes get a bit aggressive when I say this, but I'm not a fan of them, because I'm not quite sure what to do with them. You know, these feel-good memes where someone's taken a sunset somewhere that they found on the internet, they put some quote, feel-good quote, which they found somewhere, or a cliched quote, and they post it. What are we supposed to do with that? Are we supposed to suddenly lead our lives wonderfully, or what? I sound like I'm a bit miserable when I say that, but what I love is when you have created your own meme. In other words, your words and your image behind. That I love and I encourage, because I don't want other people's words. I don't want cliched cliched quotes and stuff. I can read them if I want to, but what I really love is when I see somebody's image, they've written some words from their own head and put them on top in their own way, in their own style, in their own position. Go for that. That's what I love. I'm not saying I don't like these photographs, but I'm not quite sure what to do with them sometimes. You know, what am I supposed to do with a sign that says fulfill your calling? What am I supposed to do with it? Run off and fulfill my calling? Maybe, I'm not sure. I hope. Well, this is a whole different subject, isn't it? This is for a subject for a philosophical, spiritual, find your meaning in life call, and this isn't that. Although photography can be quite close to me, can give you some meaning in your life, I find. Anyway, here's another example. You know what you could do? You could collect cliched quotes that you're not quite sure what to do with. Have you harnessed the power of your mistakes? Okay, let me see. Yeah, I'm not a fan of mistakes, because I don't really believe in them. Because normally, if you make what's a so-called mistake, it means you've tried to do something. And if you're wise, you don't see it as a mistake. You see it as learning, a learning opportunity. So I never really talk about, well, you know, you can make a mistake if you're trying to learn English. My students might make a mistake when they speak. But, you know, I'm not a fan of that word. This is kind of funny. What is this? Enter dancing. The woman doesn't really look like she's entering dancing. It looks like she's had a few too many. And the guy's about, I don't know what the guy is doing there. That's a pretty radical dance move. From Kathy. Hello, Kathy. Haven't seen you for a while. Maybe I have and I've forgotten. This is where not to go. No tiptoeing in the tulips. This is kind of funny. If you're not a tulip, please do not stand on the flower beds. Anyway, my question was, if you're a hyacinth, are you allowed to? That's funny. I like it. I like it. You know, a bit of humor to try and get people to do what you want to do. There's some signs. I saw quite a few signs in the metro, and one type of sign, you know, they go from aggressive to very sort of appealing to your sort of social conscience. So there are some signs telling you, for example, not to drop litter, because it creates an unpleasant environment for the others. And there are some signs saying €30 fine if you drop litter. So one is like a stick, and the other is what am I trying to say here? One is saying we'll punish you if you do this, and the other is be a good person, and treat your environment the way. Would you put your feet on the seats at home, really? So why do it outside? So it's funny, the campaigns seem to sort of swing between passive aggressive sort of one day we're going to tell you you're going to get fined, the next day we're going to say we really appreciate you being a good human, not putting your stupid feet on, dirty feet on the seats. All of these things just from having your eyes open and wandering around. I think that's why photography and writing are a wonderful way to help you become a better person, because you're wandering around with your mind open as opposed to closed. You're looking for things. Okay, if you're looking for signs, you're looking for signs. But if you're on a wander looking for anything that's interesting, you've got your mind open and you're ready to see what comes to you. And you can think about it. You can, if you find something interesting, you can wonder, why do I find that interesting? That's interesting. Why do I find it interesting? This is a crazy one. Jean, what? I think you said this in your comment, Jean. You said, it took me too long to read the sign that I didn't have time to cross the road. It's the first time I've seen such specific instructions on a pedestrian sign. I think this is completely ridiculous. And I think I commented, something along those lines. If there aren't any cars coming, and you're not on a sort of a motorway, or a highway, cross the road, quickly, but looking each way. But if there are cars coming, then don't cross the road. I'm not quite. It's like someone's doing a thesis here, going for a doctorate on crossing the road. So that's a good one. Well spotted, G. Excellent example of an interesting sign, because it's not what you expect. Not in my neck of the woods. This is me wandering through the woods, and it says attention, piège, danger. So attention means be careful, or danger means danger, and piège means traps. So it means don't go wandering in the woods because there be traps here. So they trap things in my woods. Let me see, where are we? Jean is saying very elegant metro signs. Absolutely. What else? I think Chicago has a pretty cool metro system, doesn't it? I've got a feeling it might be Chicago that even has a classic Art Nouveau Paris metro thing, beautiful one in Chicago, because a few of them went abroad. This is Kristen. The fulfill your calling sign showed itself to me when I was trying to make a decision. Well, I'm okay. I used to be a bit cynical about things like, card reading and horoscopes and stuff. And these days I just think, well, it doesn't matter. If something makes you think about something more deeply, great. Doesn't matter, does it? Go for it. Jean says, feel good quotes. Yeah, it's a bit of one of my hobby horses. But don't forget, I love it if you create. I'm Mr. Creativity. That's what I want to be. Give me something that you've created and I will always love it, even if it's a photo of somebody else's creativity. I think you're following your calling, so the calling is not for you. I think you are. So Dorothy says, I think you are following your calling, so the calling is not for you. I'm not 100% sure what you mean, Dorothy. Maybe you could say that in a different way. I was just chatting about this today as well, or yesterday, doing self-help and self-improvement courses. I spent a lot of my time doing quite a few of them, but I had this sneaky feeling that I should. Most of them, they tell you to, find what you enjoy doing in life and do more of it. And I found I was just doing another self-improvement course like version 2, which would help me improve myself even faster. But then I realized I wasn't doing anything except self-improvement courses. And I thought, no, wait, there's something wrong here. So then I stopped doing self-improvement courses and started focusing back on things that are just like hobbies, like photography and writing, and trying to do my best through that. But you know, self-improvement can be great as well. If you think you need improving, or if there are things that you don't, you know, you want to improve, great, go for it. Just maybe don't spend your whole life doing them. I don't believe in mistakes, says Kristen, as a bad thing either. I see them as just enriching to my perspective and experience. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I really insist on that with my students. You know, absolutely don't. You know, the worst is the F word. You know what I'm talking about? I have eliminated the F word from my vocabulary, and that word is failure. Fail, yeah, totally eliminated that from my vocabulary, unless I'm talking about it as a concept. It's a really, really negative idea. Failure doesn't really help anybody, I think. It's like, you know, the kid that falls off their bike when they're trying to learn it. Did they fail? Nah, not really. Jean says, I think you are right about a metro sign in Chicago. Yeah, look for it, Jean. There's your next assignment. I think it's in downtown Chicago on State Street. Yeah, and it's one of those lovely ones with the, I think it's one Art Nouveau with the sort of looming lamps with the red bright lights, which some of the Parisians did not like the classic Art Nouveau metro stops when they came out, because they thought they were like monsters, you know, something like from H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, although that might have come later. They looked like monsters with evil gleaming red eyes. So but they're gorgeous now. We love them. And Dorothy says, it was a comment of your comment, Sab. Okay, all right, let's move on. This is in Paris, the 𝘚𝘢𝘣 𝗦𝗡. So this is like a green corridor in Paris, and this is on an old train line that went into the center of Paris. Someone's left a sweet message: dear grandma, I love you. That is sweet. Whether it improves the walk, well, I don't know. That's for you to decide, isn't it? It looks like it's a postcard. It's supposed to be a postcard, and they've put an Eiffel Tower stamp on. So, you know, there you go. This walkway, which used to be an elevated railway going into La Bastille, I think, is interesting because you look down on Paris streets. So that's kind of cool. Okay, let's go a little bit faster now. How am I doing for time? Oh my God, goodness, 10 minutes left. Okay, London's colourful Portobello Market. I guess you're back in France now, Nazanin. Welcome back. In memory of Amy Winehouse, the Black Cat. Okay, this is me. So I'm encouraging you to do something like this. Don't forget, you can contribute your photographs at any time on anything. All I ask is that you put a comment so we know what your thoughts are about the photograph. Doesn't have to be just the theme. Any photograph at any time, go for it. And this really makes me smile because I know this sign. You see it all around Paris or some of the outlying areas. I love my town, or I love my quarter. I pick up my dog's crap, which is pretty good. You see some funny variations on that. I remember seeing a sign. There's a sign in my town, and it's slightly what's the word? Sardonic or ironic. And there's a sign. It says free course on how to pick up your dog's crap. It's something like they disguise it as an exercise routine. Cool free exercise routine. And this is on a piece of paper in the street where dog owners often let their dogs poo and don't pick it up. So your daily aerobics thing. Extend arm, bend 90 degrees, no, bend at the waist, stretch out, pick up the crap, bring your arm back towards you, place in bin. So that's kind of funny. You know, that's the using humor to get people to be decent. Oh my God, I've got to go faster. Skokie.'s got a lot to offer its residents. Here's some other subliminal advertising for Skokie. after Angela's Thessaloniki ad. This is an example of using, post-processing, playing around with the photographs after to make it a bit more fun. Obviously, there's about 3 triple exposure here, either done as you took the shot or afterwards, I don't know. But it makes the shot more interesting. From Beatrice, road indicators near my home. The pic seems less banal or usual or common thanks to the grunge effect. Yeah, why not? Play with it, go for it. Chris, slow, photographer at play. Yeah, is that really a sign? Is it a joke or what? I'm not sure if it's a joke sign or not, because it looks official, but why? I don't know. Is it on a road which is with a particularly photogenic thing, and you're liable to run over photographers if you're not careful? There was a thing in France once, a little while ago, a couple of years ago, and it was the Tour de France, the cycling event all around France, and the people who watch it, a lot of people watch it on TV. I don't really see the interest, but a lot of people watch it. So a lot of the spectators on the side of the road, they have signs like "Hello, Mum." They want to be captured by the TV cameras as they go past. And this stupid woman had a big sign, something like, "Hello, Mum." She had her back to the riders. She went into the road, pointed at the camera. The riders came round the corner, smashed into her back, and about 50 of them went down, and several had to go to hospital. Please. Anyway, that just came to my mind. How stupid can you be? Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Heading home a different way after my dentist appointment yesterday. Hope your teeth are feeling better. Caught myself looking at signs. That's what happens. That's how it goes. And you're into cutesy ones. Here's another cutesy one. That's a good argument for taking the long way home, taking another route. Did that in Paris this afternoon. We were wandering around Le Marais, which is it's an interesting area in Paris. It's well known for about 4 things: old medieval architecture, gay people, Jewish people, and tons of tourists in tourist shops. So you can imagine it's a fascinating area, and you normally go down the standard streets, and we didn't. We went down another street. We normally go left, we went right, and we found a new square that we didn't know. So always do that. Go the way you weren't expecting to go, and you will find something new. Could be a statue, could be a funny plaque, could be anything. By the way, what are we going to do for the next theme? Quick! I don't have any idea. Tell me, what's next week's theme? What else have we got? No more comments for now. So, what do you have any ideas for next week's theme? I'll put a poll up and we can choose. I'm so amazed. We had a simple thing, thanks to Jean, signs, and suddenly tons of people all over the world, hundreds of people, maybe even tens, were wandering around taking photographs of signs. Isn't that wonderful? Just through that. So Jean, you are responsible for a bunch of photographs existing now, and people going on walks and looking for stuff that didn't exist a week ago. Isn't that kind of strange? It's kind of weird, isn't it? How you can affect people on the other side of the world just with a simple word. So it could be you. You think of the theme, trying to make it 1 or 2 words max. That is going to be the one that makes people all around the world going out looking for and taking new pictures and creating new things. Isn't that cool? This is me. This is a sign in my town, my little town, which is on a train line directly into Paris, of course. And I like it. It's an old one on the side of a building. I've sabified it, but it's still a bit grimy in real life. And it's, I don't know, it's from the days when, I don't know, but you don't see many of these around. This old metal sign you know, they're stamped in metal, going from my town, saying how many kilometers it is to the next town. I love it. You know, it's just absolutely, totally the opposite of a modern day sign on the side of a building near me. And it's because I clicked on the X, so I'm hoping it's going to close. If my computer gets stuck, I'll be back in a second. It's because, am I still moving? Yeah, it's because of the theme that I bothered to take a picture of the sign. Okay, right. So while that's stuck, let me tell you about my Paris masterclass. Commercial break after Angela's advertising Thessaloniki and Jean advertising Chicago or someone, or Skokie. I'm advertising my Paris masterclass. It's kind of started, except it hasn't. There was a pre-launch. Some people have taken me up on that. Now we're in the pre-launch. And that means that if you're into Paris, for all of next year, I'm going to let you become a Paris guru through my eyes, through my photographs, and through my stories and anecdotes of Paris. And there are 3 masterclasses, actually. Each one will last for about 10 weeks. And I'll just let you into tons and tons of secrets about Paris, the history of Paris, the architecture, anything that interests me. And each of those masterclasses will be €97. But if you book up now, then you get them all 3, a year's worth of Paris for €97. And it'll be more, even when we go into the launch period, which is just before next year, it will be more. So for now, that's that. And you might think, yeah, but so I don't do anything, I have to wait until January? No, you can. I'm going to be producing new content from this week, just for people who have booked up from the masterclass. I mean, there's so much, you know, I don't have space to put it all in the masterclass, so I'm going to start building it now. I'm going to produce fact files on all these different things from now, so you can see all of those if you want. And then the real interactive masterclass with weekly videos and stuff will start in January. Okay, so that was my commercial break. Has this come back? No, it still doesn't want to come back. I think we're pretty much at the end of that, though. Let's see if I can do, what else can I do to get back to reality? That seems to have worked. Chris, now where did I park? I like that. It reminds me of what normally happens when I park in an airport car park with several levels, several regions, several areas, and a bunch of cars that looks frighteningly similar. I love that. You've gone for a really good theme, and I don't know how you've managed it, but you've got an amazing collage effect. Good for you on that. Okay, so I've got some suggestions coming in. Kristen says, have we done shadows? Thanks for sharing your mugs today, Seb. I will share mine next time. Yeah, you're welcome. We could do a theme on us with our mugs, couldn't we? This is Kristen saying, another theme suggestion, reflections. Okay, shadows and reflections. I'll tell you, Kristen, they're classics, but we haven't done them for a while. Next year ties in with the Olympics in Paris too. Yeah, it does. So that'll be another thing. I mean, there's nothing. I was just saying today. There are constantly surprises when I'm walking around Paris, and in any town you'll find them if you're on the lookout for them. So let's zoom to the end of these. That's Chris. Oops, time to back up. Post it. No trespassing. It's strange. That's very similar to my shot saying, "Careful, there are traps in them thar woods." Bear with tons of arrows. Slight bit of social comment here. There's tons of arrows pointing to different places. There's a thing saying you should put your masks and stuff in the bin, and someone has written 49.3 also going into the bin. 49.3 is a special law, a special thing which allows the government to force through an amendment if it looks like they're going to lose a vote. So you can imagine how popular that is. And they just did it recently for the raising the retirement age. So someone is saying, put that special special thing in the bin with the rest of the crap. And this was me introducing the topic. This is this probably my favorite all-time sign. It's in Keswick in the Lake District where my parents live. I'm going there in a month. It's just a great sign. It's so rusty, the paint is peeling, and it looks like it is from another era. And its point, these are two mountains, two hills, 𝘮𝑚 and 𝘮𝑘𝑔𝑡𝑒, a hill and a mountain. Look at the state of that. That's at some village. And the railway station hasn't existed for about 50 years, I think, or 20 years, something like that. So it's wonderful. Absolutely love that. Even if I do say so myself. And that's it. We're at the end. And that was me showing you that even a not particularly interesting sign, if you got the photographic eye, you know, you're prepared to wait a little bit, then you get something that's a little bit special. If you took the birds away, yeah, there are two, then it would be vaguely, you know, something, but not very exciting. But the bird, wow, that bird, look at that. And he's, you know, nicely posing. It's almost like his beak is pointing in the opposite direction to the arrows. There's something sinister about it, but there's also something kind of like he's like the watchman or the watchwoman protecting something. And in the background, you've got an echo, you've got a repetition, maybe his friend on the roof here on the edge. You also, when you've got birds with beaks, you know, as opposed to birds without beaks, try and get them sideways so you can see the beak, you know, because especially birds, very often birds are against the sky. What happens when you take a lot of sky, because it's normally bright, it underexposes and turns the bird into a silhouette. And a bird's silhouette with a pointy beak is much more of a better silhouette than if the bird is looking at you, because it turns into a little round blob. So you know, that's just a thing about birds, because even the one on the roof, right on the corner of the roof, which is pretty cool, but you can see it's a bird silhouette. You've got the beak and everything. So you know, go the extra mile, wait the extra minute, or even 5 minutes. You want the shot, you know, you should be prepared to wait 5 minutes, and especially with birds. Otherwise, why would you wait? You know, birds are one of the best things to wait for. You see them circling, flying around. I do this often. You'll see often in my Paris photographs there's a bird. Well, it's not just by chance. I normally waited. Sometimes I waited a long time for that stupid bird. And you know, if you see birds flying around, you might as well wait a little while, just in case you can get the bird in there. If there aren't any birds, then don't bother waiting for a bird. And that's it. That is the show, except I've told you about the Paris masterclass. That's parissetmefree.com/master. Check it out. There's blurb, but it's not finished. Okay, so I'm slowly building up the blurb, and you can see some of the things that will be in the masterclass. And these were my Paris shots, which I won't talk about because time is gone. But you can see that I decided to hang them together with the theme of red, a blob of red in each one, if not a massive amount of red. All right, so we've got some suggestions. What are we going to go for? I will put up a thing in a minute. A poll for the theme. Thanks, Kristen, for your suggestions. What else have we got? We've got next year, yeah, the Olympics. So that might produce some photo opportunities for me. Dorothy says playing. And Jean says, oh, I didn't see the bird on the roof in your shot. Nice. Yeah. You know, there's one of the nicest things about really good shots is you spot things that you didn't know were there. That can even happen with your own shots. When you get home, you look at it closely, you think, oh my God, there's two of them, or, you know, something like that. But if you can plan it, then that makes it good as well. All right. So I'm going to put up a poll right now. Thanks for watching. Great to have you here. I really love it when you're here watching with me live and commenting. I really appreciate it. You can't tell me how, you can't tell me, no, I can't tell you even how nice it is to have you with me and sharing your shots. Thank you so much. And that's it for another week, except I now do Paris shows. I started doing a Paris show. Haven't decided on the day. It might be Wednesday, it might not. So that's another bit of time with me talking about Paris. And it's not, obviously, I use a lot of photographs, but in that show, the idea is more on aspects of Paris, like curiosities, architecture, happenings, history, and probably a bit of promo for my masterclass as well. So thanks a lot, and I will see you again, same time, same place next week. I think I'm here next week. And have good lives. I mean, have good weeks, and let's see what we create. Let's see what we can't create. Experiment. See what you can't create for next week. So have a go at creating something, and if you succeed in creating it, then that didn't work. That wasn't something you couldn't create. I'm losing myself in language here. Bye for now, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.